There's a huge difference between selling from the head and selling from the heart. And here's why most sales training is completely wrong for today's world. Remember this always be closing? Well, yeah, that worked great when salespeople had all the power and all the information. Somebody could literally roll up to your house with a vacuum cleaner and be like, this is the very best vacuum cleaner you've ever seen in your life. There's nothing else like it. And they didn't really have any other options. They didn't have any way to verify it or understand whether this information was correct. So they would just go with it. But today, customers have more knowledge and power than ever. They can look up anything online. We have YouTube University, ChatGPT. There's millions of options when it comes to investing in a coach, and yet most sales training is still stuck in the 1980s. Here's what nobody's talking about. We buy based on emotion and back it up with logic, but it's not enough to just know intellectually. My boss taught me something that really changed everything. He said, if I say it, it's a lie. If they say it, it's the truth. And this one insight took me from door-to-door sales rejection, selling reverse osmosis water coolers, to now making over $250,000 in sales over the past 2 years, and including my first $12,000 day. But what's fascinating is that women actually close 11% higher than men when they stop using the manipulative, pushy, bro marketing sales tactics and start using what I call the effortless sales framework instead. We're going to go through the top mistakes coaches make that make them suck at sales and exactly what to do about it. The first one is one of my favorites. So this first mistake that most coaches make is that they are so passionate about their solution and they start prescribing before diagnosing. This would be like walking into a doctor's office and them writing you a prescription before them even asking what's wrong. It would be like if I rolled up to this doctor's office and I'm like, yeah, my knee is in a lot of pain and I need some pain pills in order to do it. And like that used to be the thing in the Florida, pain clinic days, but those days are no more. And that's actually malpractice. Okay. This happens because this is especially true if you're really smart, and a lot of women are very intuitive. We see things, we understand what's going on, but it doesn't matter if you know it, they have to know it. And it happens because you can see what they need. You know that your solution works and you want to help so badly, and you're afraid to lose the sale. You're afraid to walk away. So you just word vomit all over them and they're just like, they don't even know what to do. But what it's really costing you at the end of the day is you're getting on the call with people who have a problem and they feel like you haven't listened. They don't feel heard. You're working way harder than you need to land your clients. Your close rate definitely suffers, and then you attract just like price shoppers, people who are comparing prices. So when this happened to me, I was like, I had found this really amazing industrial account that I thought was absolutely going to close. This was in my water cooler days. And I had talked to the person in charge there. They were buying water. Ours was cheaper. It was better. It made more sense. And I was like so excited about it. So when they told me no, I was just like, what did I do wrong? I don't understand. I was out to lunch with my boss and some of my coworkers. He would take us to lunch. We at this Mexican restaurant and about this. And he said, so what problem were we solving? And I said, well, they like water. We have water. What do you mean? It just doesn't make sense. And no pain, no sale. If we haven't uncovered an actual problem, how can we possibly diagnose? Like, you're not going to walk into the doctor's office and be like, yeah, my knee hurts. And they're like, okay, let's take you back to surgery. That just doesn't even make any sense. They have to understand, and they have to understand what the problem is, and they figure that out by the quality of your questions. So the way to fix it is instead of just prescribing, the second that they book a call with you, just because they booked a call doesn't mean they're necessarily going to buy, but that does mean they have a problem, and it's your job to uncover what the problem is. So instead of being like, let me tell you what you need, let me tell you what we're going to do, you want to ask them, okay, so your knee is hurting. Is it coming from like the mid-thigh area? Is it in your hip? Like, where is the pain starting? And, which knee is it, obviously? And is it more of like a shooting, a throbbing, kind of like really sharp pain, or to explain this pain to me. Like they're going to ask you questions about it. They're not just going to be like, oh, okay, your knee is in pain. So you want to, I use questions to really pinpoint the problem, pinpoint the pain. And then also, this is so important, asking them, so what have you tried so far? So your knee's in pain. How long has this been going on? Have you gone to any other doctors? Have you been, did you try physical therapy? Are you doing pain meds? Like what solutions have you already tried? And we need to know what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it. Yeah, I went to this other doctor. It was like a functional medicine and he had me do these exercises, but it just made it hurt so much worse. Like we need to know all of that information so that when we do recommend a solution based on our findings, they don't say, oh, I've done that already and it didn't work. Well, if you had done it already and it didn't work, then you either didn't do it right or this wasn't the same thing at the end of the day, but you can't say that. Instead of saying, here's what will solve your problem, you want to ask them, like, what impact is this having on your business? So you want to be at 20K months, but you haven't passed $1,000. What is this doing for your ability to support yourself? How is this impacting you? What are the other repercussions? What are the consequences? And for me personally, this was really, really hard because I struggled with this specifically for such a long time. It really wasn't until I lost that big account, and then I've had to relearn this lesson over and over again. Another particular call comes to mind. I was talking to this woman who had reached out to me. She was really excited about what I did. I don't think she understood it completely, but she really kind of took control of the conversation, and she was asking me all of these questions, and I was just explaining everything, and I was showing her. I was like doing my screen share. I had a Miro board. I was showing her the back end of my Skool, just like everything. And I've since learned, first of all, there were a number of problems with that she took control of the conversation. I started over explaining, showing her all of the features before we had really established the value. And the value of your product or service comes from past perceived voids, past perceived values, and present perceived voids. I'm sorry, I don't know if I got that right. That was from Myron Golden. But the value of your product or service comes from things that they wanted in the past but couldn't get. Sales is uncovering the value of your product or service so well that they would be happy to exchange the money in their pocket for your product, your service, or your opportunity. Which means we don't start going through features until we understand what's important to them. What do they value? What is it that they want? How is this impacting their life? And so she took control of that conversation. I showed her way too much. I gave her way too much of a solution. It was basically like a free consulting call. And now I'm a big believer in leading with value. I don't have a problem in giving them a few like nuggets on the sales call. But when it comes to like solving their whole problem, now there's no urgency for them to buy. Now they don't necessarily see you as the expert. They think that they can do it themselves. And they're making assumptions based on what you're talking about that aren't really based in reality because they don't fully understand it, because we haven't fully dissected what their problem actually is. So you want to sell like a doctor, like a mechanic. And if they start taking control of the conversation and asking you all these questions, what you say is, that's really interesting. You say that, Sandra. One of my clients had the same question, but before I answer that, can I just like make sure I have this right? Because I want to make sure I'm giving you the information that you need. Are you asking about how to set up your community, or are you asking about the dream client attraction system? Like, put it back on them. It's as a mechanic, just like a doctor, it'd be malpractice. A mechanic, it would be they bring their car in that's broken and they're like, okay, how much? What's wrong with it? You haven't even looked under the hood yet. That would just be like out of integrity. Okay. So mistake number 2, this one's big, is playing business theater. The second biggest mistake coaches make is spending 80% of their time playing what I call business theater. This means perfecting your website, tweaking your Instagram bio, messing around with your offer, changing your niche, making business cards, all while avoiding the one thing that actually brings money into your business, which is sales conversations. The reason 82% of all businesses fail in the first 5 years is due to lack of capital, and 40% of businesses fail in the first year due to lack of capital. Money doesn't solve everything, but it solves all the problems that money can solve. And that happens from sales. Sales is change. Sales is you're uncovering the value, you're leading them to the natural conclusion that you have the solution by uncovering the value of what they have, and now they're happy to exchange their money with it. So anything that's not that is a distraction and a waste of time, and it's a way for you to feel like you're an entrepreneur or you're a business owner or you're doing something that matters, meanwhile avoiding the work that would actually move your business forward. And this happens because I know sales is scary, especially as a woman. You don't want to be rejected. You're afraid of people saying no. It literally feels like you'll die if you ask somebody for money. And it's just really fucking awkward and uncomfortable. And so you avoid getting on sales calls and anything that could actually move the business forward. And busy work just makes you feel like you're productive without actually being productive, and allows you to justify avoiding rejection. And it's easier than just facing the fear of doing it. But what it's really costing you, we already talked about 82% of businesses fail in the first 5 years due to lack of cash flow. And it really doesn't matter how pretty your website is. I have a client, oh my God, or I had a client. She came to me. She had spent over a year messing around with her website. Meanwhile, hadn't got a single client. All of that time she spent fucking with her website would have been better spent figuring out how to get people to the website. In order to make your first $40,000 online in your spiritual business, like, you really only need a website and a way to accept payments. I use Skool, Skool. It's a community platform that allows you to set up the entire business in like an hour. And I do this with my clients all the time. It's so simple, okay? Don't get distracted by the shiny object syndrome. In the Matrix, they talk about this. So he's talking to the guy and he sees this woman in a red dress and he really wants to go towards this woman in a red dress. And she looks like really sexy and fun. And the guy's like, well, look back one more time. And he looks back and she's like an agent who's after him. And that's what distractions are to your business. Anything that you're focusing on that isn't directly bringing clients into your business is a waste of time. It's a distraction. Everything else is admin work, and you would be well suited to outsource this, systematize this, automate it, do something to take this off your plate, because there are certain things that just have to get done, but most of them, especially when you're a beginner, you spend time on all the wrong things. So I've done the same thing. Oh my God, my mom does this. It's so funny. So when I first started, I grew my business by going live on TikTok, and I would do it every single day for an hour before I went out to sell water coolers. And this worked for me. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to go live anymore. And so I found this new platform. Here's a perfect example. I found a new platform. It was called Searchy.io. Amy Porterfield uses it. A lot of the people like I look up to use it. And I really liked it because it had some AI features that I thought were really cool. So I ended up spending 2 months and $2,000 trying to build out this new platform and move things over from Skool to Searchy, only to just discover that it was way too complicated to set up. And if my job, what I do with my clients is I help them build coaching communities, if I can't figure it out, how the fuck can I expect them to figure it out? I'm over here paying these people thousands of dollars to help me, and it was just way too much. It didn't make any sense. And so that was 2 months where I didn't have like a single sales conversation because I'm waiting for this new system to be built out before I start talking to anybody, and I had no cash flow into the business. And what you have to understand is the universe tends towards chaos. If you're not growing, you're dying. So if you're not actively engaging and money-making behaviors on a daily basis, it will just naturally gravitate towards inertia. It's so much easier to continue momentum when you have momentum. It's so much harder to get through the inertia. If you stop growth, it's like you're starting back over from zero again. So the way that you get around this is tracking the right metrics, meaning tracking lead indicators versus lag indicators. Money into your business and sales, number of clients, is a lag indicator, meaning it's based on actions you took in the past. So you could be making yourself believe that you're better off than ever. Meanwhile, you haven't reached out to anybody, you haven't onboarded any clients, you haven't, thank you, Jackson, all of the things that could actually bring cash flow into the business. So instead of tracking monthly revenue, track the number of sales conversations you've had. I track the number of DMs I send, because I'm a 4-6 in human design. My network is my paycheck, and I don't send those creepy salesy DMs like, hey girl, hey, I just think you're lovely and do you want a free reading? Like, bitch, why? I do love when people try to sell me stuff, though. I think it's great. It makes me so, because you always find like new ways to do things, or new ways not to do things. But I track the number of conversations I've had every day, and I actually had this guy on Fiverr build out a Notion thing for me where there's like 5 non-negotiables every day. So I do EFT, reach out to at least 5 people, post a piece of content, and there was one more on there. My morning walk. And I've noticed that every day I do those things, my business moves forward. So instead of focusing on like perfect or number of followers, track the number of meaningful connections. How many conversations have you started? Instead of like trying to create perfect content or perfect marketing, you could spend 5 hours on a post that doesn't perform well. And that would have been better spent just reaching out to your ideal clients. Did you know that you can literally find anybody online? This is especially true with Instagram because they've got voice notes. You can find other creators in your niche who are doing what you want to do, who have the clients that you would like to have, and you could look at who's following them and look at who's engaging with them, and you could just reach out to those people personally. Say something about their page that you noticed, what they're working on, about their dog. It doesn't matter, but personalize it. It's an actual human connection. And this is really true about selling from the head versus selling from the heart. There's a balance to it. It's not just sitting back like with the feminine, just waiting for them to come to you. We're still doing our part. But we know that when we do this, the universe will take care of the rest. When you're creating connections and conversations, that creates currency. So the third mistake is just taking objections at face value. Here's what gets really interesting, is that most coaches completely misunderstand what's happening when someone has an objection. There's a reason why someone will say no to a $3,000 offer, but then they'll say yes to a $10,000 offer literally 20 minutes later. And I've had this happen to me, so I've had to really figure this out. The 3 hidden truths, and this is really going to help you make sense of the main sales objections you'll hear. There's really only 3 main reasons that would prevent somebody from buying from you. And the sooner you get to the truth, the sooner you can deal with it head on, instead of just letting them put up a scapegoat of something they're saying it is when that's really not the problem at all. So the first one that you have to look out for, there's different buyer archetypes, negotiator types, but the first one you have to look out for is the victim archetype. When they say, I can't afford it, what they mean is I'm giving my power away. If this is something that you hear a lot, then I need you to look inside and ask yourself, where are you giving your power away to something outside of you? Let's say that you really want to sell your house, and you've been wanting to sell your house for a while, and you're looking at the market, the timing doesn't seem right, you're going to have to fix the garage, you're going to have to paint the house, you're going to have to, find a realtor, and so you're just like, it's just not the right time. You're giving your power away. If this is something like you've been wanting to move, you've been wanting to do this thing, you don't want to be in the house anymore, but it just never seems to be the right time, you're giving your power away. And the most powerful energetic shift is making a new choice that moves you outside of your comfort zone. It's not just about clearing your chakras or clearing your energy. It's not just about that. It's about making new decisions. So if you're seeing this objection, first of all, understand that if they have an objection once you've gotten to pitch your program, they really are called to step into your program, but they just have fears, which is totally normal. But this objection is masking a deeper fear. And so when you hear, I can't afford it, understand that they're on this call with you. Understand that when you hear an objection, it means that they are really called to step into your program, but they have fears. There's something that this objection is masking. It's not just about clearing your chakras, because if you're hearing it a lot, it's about making a new decision. And the most powerful energetic shift that you can make is making a new choice that moves you outside of your comfort zone. We're talking about selling from the head versus selling from the heart. We're here to guide them to make an empowering decision, whether or not that decision is yes or no. And that's what my entire effortless sales framework is about. It's for facilitating clarity and a decision. So instead of what do I need to do or say to get them to say yes, once you've heard this, it's reframing the way that you see sales objections. So the first part of reframing is understanding that they're really called to be in your program or they wouldn't be here. Also, they would not have booked a call with you if there wasn't some way to find the capital to do this. I know, because let me just say this. When you're looking for a teacher, you're looking for a coach, there's 3 things I look for. The first one is, do they speak my language? Because if everything I'm saying to you just sounds like word salad today, then I am not your coach. Find somebody who speaks your language. It's just going to make it so much easier. The second one is, do they have or have they been where I want to be? Check, check. The third one is, can I afford it? And you're the only one who can decide whether you can afford it. Have I put myself in precarious financial situations to enroll in a program before? Yes. Did it always work out for me? No. You have to decide that. But if they're on the call with you and they're saying, I can't afford it, they're really wanting to do this and they're sharing something pretty sensitive with you. So you can just be like, thank you so much for sharing that with me and having the courage. I know that that was really hard to admit. And so I really appreciate you letting me know. Now, based on everything we've discussed together, you want to be at 10K months, you don't have a paid client yet. What's going to happen if you don't do this program? But you're saying it from the heart. You're saying it with love. You're saying it with compassion. And if after that, they're still not ready to go, as if I have to pull you in, I'm going to have to pull you along, and I don't want to have to pull you along. I'm operating under the assumption that if you booked a call with me, one of my qualifying questions is what's your budget? So I know that there's something you can do here. And if they say my budget is $50 and that's it, then we're probably not going to get on the phone. So you can just have confidence in that. If you have any kind of qualifying questions, make sure you do that beforehand. So the second objection that you'll hear a lot is, it'll present as the saboteur or logician archetype. This is the archetype that wants to control everything, to see everything laid out perfectly, to know exactly how they're going to get from A to B. And it's they say, I'm going to wait. I have to think about it. I want to do this, but first I have to finish my course that I already bought, talk to my husband. And to clear this energetically for you, it's about looking at where you're doing the same thing. Because you know that the more we think about something that we know is right for us, the more power we give to our logical, logician, saboteur mind to protect our self-identity, to justify why they shouldn't do it just to make it, because it doesn't make full sense. So this is the part it's always better to do it later. They're putting off the decision, they're putting off making it because they're scared that they don't understand the full progression. And we book a call and they're like, I've had this happen before. I thought I just killed the call. And they're like, okay, this is great. I just have to talk to my husband and think it over with him. Okay. And I'm like, okay, great. And then you just never hear from them again. What would be better is to find out what it is that you need to think about. So, sure, that's not a problem at all. How long do you think that you'll need to make a decision? Okay, 48 hours. Sure. Let's go ahead and get that on the calendar. We want to book a call from the call. So you get it on the calendar, you send them the link, and then you're like, okay, so great. I have you on, or I would just say, I have availability Thursday at 2 or Friday at 1. Which one of those works better for you? They tell me Friday at 1. Okay, amazing. Now, you know, Mrs. Pookie, can you do me the honor of, if anything comes up and you're unable to make this call, can you please text me and let me know so that if you're unable to make it, I can fill this spot with someone else who is interested in the program? Ask them that just to make sure they show up for the call. I'll show up for that if they say yes to it, but find out once you've said that. Okay, great. So just so I know and I can prepare, what exactly do you need to think about? You want to find out, and you have to be willing to ask the hard questions. And when we go to my effortless sales framework, I'll show you exactly how. But we want to move from the logician mind to the magician archetype. The magician believes and knows that anything is possible for me right now and has total belief in your ability to manifest your desires. Total belief. So stop overthinking your own decisions and understand that you're not going to see the entire path laid out for you all the way from A to Z in like a perfect step-by-step fashion, because success isn't linear. It's circular, just like everything else, just like your spirituality, your awakening, your business, everything. It's a spiral. Things don't get successful. They are made successful. Okay. The third archetype that you're going to hear a lot is the slave or the prostitute archetype. This comes down to a lack of worthiness. This is when you hear, it's amazing, but I'm not ready yet. I'm not worth, like, oh, I love this program. This is amazing, but I don't know if I can do it. Or, I'm going to figure it out myself, or I can find it cheaper. That's the slave or prostitute archetype, where it's sourcing power and sourcing value horizontally from the value it gives to others instead of vertically. So they're only worth what they can prove or show to someone else, and they're pouring into everyone else but themselves. This is moving from the hustle toxic culture of like productivity to the more feminine approach of like receptivity, abundance, everything comes to me. So the opposite of the prostitute would be the queen archetype. The queen archetype knows her worth. She knows her value. She leads from the heart and is secure in the value that she provides the marketplace. And this is really big in pricing. Whenever you're pricing a program, instead of looking at what are other people charging, ask yourself, what would just be so amazing to charge for this program? Like, what is the result? Who are they becoming? What are they going to get? And what is that really worth? And it should be a price that excites you, because the last thing you want is to sell a bunch of people into your program at a price that you're no longer aligned with. So we want to price our programs, our services, our products from this place of this queen archetype. I am that bitch. Versus the prostitute, $50 a session, sliding scale, donation based. Like, okay, girl, if you can pay your rent in like Reiki sessions and massages and you want to barter for your services, that's great. But if you need cash money to live your life and pay your bills so you can finally move out of your parents' house, pay off your credit cards, go on that vacation, then we need to have a talk about your pricing, okay? We need to talk about your pricing. So when it comes to objections, I'll coach them a little bit. I'm willing to ask the difficult questions to help them come to their own conclusions. But if we're coming back to the same thing over and over again, we're going to just let that one go. Okay. You're never going to get them all, and you don't want to. And just your motto is rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. Your only job is to show up with love and honesty and be willing to hold that space for them and be uncomfortable, because change is uncomfortable. We're programmed to prefer a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. So as a salesperson, as a light leader, as a coach, as a female lady sales ninja, you got to be willing to let them be uncomfortable, because no pain, no sale. Okay. The fourth mistake that most coaches make is waiting for clients to come to them, because you're so uncomfortable having the hard conversations, and facing rejection is so fucking terrifying that you're unwilling to put yourself in a position where you could be rejected. And so the way around this that I have found is really learning how to manage your energy from a Buddhist perspective of non-attachment. So we're going into the call with positive expectations while being detached from the outcome. This is why I call my sales framework the effortless sales framework, because it's to facilitate clarity and decision. It's not here to force, push, convince, manipulate, none of those things. So the beauty of this is, what I love to do is 5 minutes before the call, what I'll do, let's say this is a client that I had reached out to on Instagram. I will pull up their Instagram and I will look at their picture and I will focus on my heart and I will feel love in my heart for Jackson, for my mom, for whoever, like wherever, whatever gives you a strong sense of love. And I'll look at their picture. This works every time. This is crazy. The difference between manipulation and influence is intention. If you're doing this for the purpose of hurting somebody, then no. But if you're doing this for the purpose of helping somebody, you're here to solve a problem, then it's beautiful. So I'll focus on my heart. I'll look at their picture. I'll see them as a person just like me, who's got their pains, their successes, their trials, their tribulations, their past, and they're just looking for help. They're looking for a solution. They're not better than me. They're not worse than me. They're just a person. And so I'll focus on my heart. I'll send them love. I also love to do EFT tapping or visualization every single day. So one of my clients, her name is Jessica Tellian. She's fucking amazing. And she has some free EFT tapping videos on YouTube to help you manifest success in your business, to bring consistent clients into your business, cash flow into your business. Those are so great. And if you join, she's got another program, the Manifestation Academy, that's amazing. She's got other scripts in there, but I actually love to do those. Every morning I'll wake up, I'll do a manifesting sales in my business visualization. It's like 10 minutes. It's amazing. And then that really kind of primes me for the rest of the day. But then before the call, I'll do EFT, I'll focus on my heart, I'll do some grounding. You could do some jumping jacks, anything you can do to really feel into your body, come from a place of love, of compassion, of care. And you won't avoid clients so much. You won't be waiting for clients to come to you. You'll be willing to have those tougher conversations and put yourself in uncomfortable situations, because you know that you're here to serve. And you're here to serve from the heart, and you have something that's really valuable. And if you know that you have something that's really valuable that could solve somebody else's problem, how selfish is it of you to hold back because you're afraid that they'll say no? Rejection is protection, okay? So instead of waiting for clients to come to you, it's so important that every single day you're doing some kind of outreach. This could either be commenting on other posts, reaching out to people in the DMs. You could do ads, but you don't really need that as a beginner. You have to build your traffic organically. Don't look for shortcuts. The messy middle is where it's really at. We're so focused on the beginning and the end of success in business, but what nobody talks about is this messy middle. And this is where we do not wait for clients to come to us. We're focused on the actions that we can control every day, which is reaching out, starting conversations, building connections, having conversations with people that we would really love to work with. So I'm talking about a proactive approach here. If there's anything that's changed my business more than anything, this is how I just had a 12-day day, is I was just reaching out to people in the DMs who had engaged with my content, who had followed me, who had commented, who had done anything. And you just reach out really simply. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. Oh, I see you do tarot and Reiki. You're my kind of people. Say something personal. Are you here to grow your business or for the videos? That's it. It's so simple. You've got to reach out though. The fifth mistake is selling from logic. So remember, We buy based on emotion and then we back it up with logic. Most coaches are doing this backwards. They're trying to sell the number of sessions, the time, the investment, the all of the pieces of the thing. But what people are actually buying into is the person that they believe that they will become on the other side of this. What'll really help you here is selling the vacation versus the plane flight. If you're trying to sell someone to go on a vacation to Hawaii, are you going to sell, hey, you got to, make sure you pack all your stuff in a suitcase, show up to the airport like 2.5 hours early. You might need to get an Uber, or you might like want to rent a car. You'll get to the airport, you'll check in, you got to stand at one of those kiosks, and then you're going to go to the TSA line. You got to take off your belt and your shoes and put all of your stuff on the belt and then walk through, let them scan you, make sure you're all good. Then you got to go find your gate. You might be able to find a seat. You might not. The flight's probably going to get delayed. Like, are you going to sell that? Or are you going to sell, you could be on the beach in Hawaii sipping a margarita and like tomorrow with your boyfriend, with the sun on your face, the wind blowing in your hair, music playing in the background, and you can hear the sounds of the ocean. Which one of those is more compelling? I'll just ask you. And these are all pieces of my effortless sales framework. So everything that we've discussed up until now leads to this exact moment. This is the exact framework that allowed me to close $12,000 in a single day, which is more than I could make in 2 months in my sales job. And it's so easy. It's so simple. This is basically a compilation of all of my favorite pieces of different sales scripts and frameworks and trainings I have sourced throughout the years, and I've done a lot of them because I was in door-to-door sales for 2 years. So I've had to, I've always growing, right? We're here to master something. So like we've already discussed, I'm going to give you the questions in just a sec. But first, we want to set the energy, set the intention before the call. MetLife did a study that people who are more optimistic, they tested optimism and aptitude. And even if they scored low on aptitude, if their optimism was high, they had a 56% higher chance of closing in the second year. So you want to go in with positive expectations, get your energy right, spend 5 minutes to ground yourself, light some incense, ring a little bell, whatever it is, do your thing. You figure out your own routine. And then the questions are simple. Okay, so we want to find out what's the problem. So I saw you booked a call for help building your holistic coaching business. Tell me a bit about what's going on right now. What made you book this call now? You want to dig into that. We got to find out what are they struggling with and what do they see as the biggest block from getting them from where they are to where they want to be. Then we found out what the problem is. And for women, this can be a little trickier. We don't want to admit when we're struggling. So what you could also ask is, if I could wave a magic wand anywhere in your business, where would I wave it and what would it do? This is the art of being a woman, of feminine sales. It's being able to ask questions that are so powerful that get you the answers that you need to hear, and you make it seem like it was their idea and they feel really, really good doing it and volunteering that information. So we find out what's the problem. The next one is, what's the goal? Where do you want to be in the next, I would say 6 to 12 months? Okay. Why is that important to you? Like, why do you want an RV and to retire your husband and to be able to take ski vacations? Like, why is that important? Okay, amazing. So I know what you want. I know why that's important, but why now? Like, why is this important for you to fix now? We need urgency. We got to have some urgency. This would be the difference between if I was a weight loss coach and I'm saying, I'll help you lose 10 pounds of body fat versus I'll help you lose the last 10 pounds of fat so you can fit in your wedding dress in the next 30 days. Which one of those has more urgency? So we need urgency. The next one is, okay, so we've noticed that our most successful clients have some things in common. These are so amazing. This is future pacing. This is from NLP. This is like a Jedi mind hack here. I'm giving you all the tea. I've noticed our most successful clients, they take action quickly. They are willing to ask for help. I need you to raise your hand and let me know if there's something you're struggling with. I'm not here. I don't want you to be a hero. Okay. Like, you're not here to do this by yourself. That's what you have me for. Do you feel like you can do that? Can you ask for help? Do you take action quickly? And the next one is, they're ready to transform now. Like, this isn't some someday problem. This is a now problem. And they say yes. And then you say, okay, well, there are 3 pillars to There's 3 pillars to the attraction formula, all designed to get you to 10K months in the next 3 to 12 months. The first one is the dream client attraction system, and then tie in a benefit to their current situation. Great. Do you have any questions? Do you feel like that would be helpful to you? Number 2 is my effortless sales framework for facilitating clarity and decision. If you had something like this and you had 8 clients booked on the calendar every month, do you feel like that would help you get to 10K months? And they'll say yes. Great. Any questions about that? Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. The last one is my master your external vision. We create an offer that's reverse engineered to get you to your end goal, because that's how we manifest your external vision. This offer is compelling and scalable. Most of my clients sell their offer anywhere between $1,000 and $5,000. Does that make sense? So you're just going to go through the 3 pillars of your program. We are not word vomiting here. You should not be talking for more than 2 minutes straight throughout this entire conversation. The first part is all about them. It has nothing to do with you. Remember, if I say it's a lie, if they say it's a truth, it's not enough for you to know what their problem is. They got to know there's a problem, or you are not making that sale. And they're not going to get the help that they need because you word vomited your whole fucking thought process out. I've done that. Don't do it. So then they're like, yeah, that sounds great. No questions. There's nothing else I would add. Amazing. This is the most important part. If you fuck this up, you fumbled the bag and it's your fault. Don't do that. Great. Well, the next step from here would be to organize the investment itself. The program is $8,000. Most clients pay in full. From there, we would schedule your onboarding call to start on your dream client attraction system as early as tomorrow. How does that sound? How would you like to proceed? Just clean, easy, chill, laid back, like it's the most natural thing in the world. How is that for effortless? I feel like that's pretty good. So today I've shown you how you can help clients tell themselves the truth with powerful questions, how you can be in charge of your own destiny. We talked about the effortless sales framework, selling like a doctor, understanding what's actually going on when people have objections, being careful about playing business theater. You need to focus on what are the 20% of activities you're doing that are responsible for 80% of your results, and then just double down on those bad boys. And I can tell you what they are right now. It's traffic and conversion. So outreach, onboarding, nurturing, we're being proactive in our approach, and selling from emotion, selling the vacation, not the plane flight. Okay. If you want my entire effortless sales framework, you can get it instantly if you go to Skool, Skool.com/Amanda to get instant access to everything we have inside the attraction formula. And if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, you can click the link below to book a clarity call with me so I can see how we can best support you. Okay? Mwah.